welcome back to the Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. Had a nice cool morning this morning in August. This video we're going to be getting into hive number 9 over here. There was a video right before this one, maybe a couple videos back, where I went in there and it looked like the queen had failed, but I did find a queen, so I don't know if that queen was a superseded queen or the queen that was failing. I don't believe it was laying workers at that point. I believe the drone brood in there was from the failed queen. So we're going to get into that. Hive number 9, and I believe it was the 5th frame from this side over here that there was some fresh larvae in there. They weren't eggs anymore. They had just turned into larvae, and I want to see if they're looking like they're turning into drone cells. So if they are, and I want to look for that queen again and see if we find her. Someone asked how old that queen was. I don't know, because I don't know if that's the queen I tried to mark or if that's a queen that superseded, depending on when I made the split. So let's get into a hive number 9 and see if that hive is going to fail and we need to combine it. And if we do, we'll use this tiny swarm and combine that hive with it. If not, we'll just keep going along and see what happens. So let's get in there and find out what's going on. Okay, it's been 1 week since we've been in hive number 9. So what we found were signs of failing queen, but we found a queen. So the question is that a superseded queen that's new, or is that the failing queen? And there were some larvae in here that were fresh off of eggs. So we need to see if those are turning into drones or if they're turning into workers. If they're turning into workers, that tells us that queen is a good queen and we should go with her. So let's get in here and see what we find. I'm anxious to see what it's doing. So we do have a honey super on this hive, which I'm not even going to take the lid off. Get rid of that spacer. Just going to move it like this. I know there's 4 frames of uncapped honey in here. And the population in here isn't quite what it ought to be. It's fairly weak. Okay, the frame I'm interested in is the 5th one over. 2, 3, 4, right here is where I saw the larva that I need to verify and see what it looks like. Casualty. Starting to warm up, but man, it's nothing like it was a week ago. So that's fairly full of nectar. Same there. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these outside frames. Just take a quick glance for the queen. No queen, that's a honey frame. Honey frame. Bees are pretty calm. Of course, you get that when you don't have a strong population. At least on my bees anyway. So that's honey. Honey, no queen. Pollen. A lot of drones. See all the different colors of pollen in there? It's kind of neat. And it's all honey on this side. So this was the frame I expected to find all my brood on, and I found this instead. This is sporadic drones from a queen shooting blanks, unfertilized eggs. So there's still a lot of these larvae that are getting bigger that are drones that are turning into drones. So if that's the case, I'm trying to think of the time frame. I'm thinking that queen we saw would be the one that laid these. And they're not looking correct. You see what I'm talking about here? See the white in there? Those are larvae that are going to turn into drones. And the big deep capped cells are actually drone cells that are capped. Just looking on here for that queen. I do see some very young workers hatched though. Let's see, this is the frame where I saw the larva. Must be on the other side. This hive has kind of a sour smell to it. Well, let's continue on and see what we find. Not liking what I'm seeing. Sweating. Last time I found the queen on this frame here. She was right in here. She's not there this time. Okay. I think I've seen all I need to see. No queen, that's all honey, and that one's all honey. Okay, what we're going to do now, I'm going to pop this top off, take a quick look in the bottom, see what we find down there. Make sure there's no infestations of wax moss or anything going on in the bottom. And this is going to be pretty heavy. Okay. So this bottom is mostly empty, looks like. A little bit of honey and pollen. Honey and pollen. No queen. Honey and pollen, no queen. Lots of pollen. Lots of pollen. Here's a chewed off supersedure cell right here. There's a few larvae on this frame here, but they're drones. Man, look at all that pollen. Okay, did not find a queen in the bottom box. I found a little bit of a little bit of area with some larvae, but they're drone larvae. I found a chewed out supersedure cell from the side. There are cells in the top that I think, I said last video they were swarm cells. Golly, I think they're supersedure cells and they weren't chewed out. So I think that queen we saw was a supersedure queen. But what I think's happened is she has not mated or failed to mate or did not mate correctly. I think this hive is queenless. Unless that queen is out on a flight now, mating, or I missed her. All of that's possible. So, we're first week of August. We're running out of time to do things. We still have a little bit of time to try and get this hive to requeen itself. So, I'm going to put a frame of brood in the top box. Swap it out for a frame that's in there. I'm sorry, a frame that has fresh eggs. So I'm going to go to one of these hives around me and find a hive that's got some fresh eggs, pick on it and steal a frame of eggs and put it in here. And I'm going to notch under those eggs, so if they are queenless, they will draw those down into queen cells. And in a month, we should have about an 80% chance of a mated queen in this hive, if that's the case. If there's a queen in here and they don't pull those down, that's fine. Maybe that queen will get her act together and start laying. So that's the plan right now. I'm going to put that back on, go find some eggs and get them in here. Oh, man, that's heavy. Okay, I'm going to pull a frame from in here in the middle. I can't get over that sour smell I'm smelling. Since I'm not worried about a nice big fat queen in here, I'm just going to grab this right out of the middle. I'm going to shake the bees off it. Look again for the queen on here. When there's a lot of drones on a frame, your eyes won't go straight to that queen a lot of times. So there are a lot of drones in here from all the drone cells opening up. Ah, see, good thing I did it. There she is. So here's our queen. Get this where I can see it. She's hanging out on the bottom. So, man, I don't know. She looks like a good queen. Maybe because of the time of year, she's just not choosing to do a lot of laying. So if I put a frame of eggs in here with that queen, they will not pull it down. So the thing to do if we knew that queen was bad would be to remove her. Let them go queenless and then do that procedure I just mentioned. So where'd she go? There, she's right here, bottom middle. So I'll make sure I don't smash her. So let's go another week on them. You know, this middle of the dearth and there's not nectar coming in, she just may be choosing not to lay. But she looked like a nice mated queen to me. Not the biggest, but we're just going to go with it. Do nothing is always an option. Okay, that's it for this hive number 9 for another week. We did find the queen. I don't want to mess with marking her. Given the situation, you know, things aren't normal, so I don't want to introduce any more stress into here than we have to. So we'll check it again next week and see what's going on. So what we need to look for now is that we don't go laying worker in here, but as long as there's a queen and she looked healthy, they won't go laying worker. So we're just going to go with the flow and let Mother Nature do her thing here. So I would love to hear any comments of what you more experienced beekeepers know on this situation, what you might do, what that sour smell might be. I didn't see any sign of any disease. Chalk brood, American foul brood, European foul brood, I didn't see anything that looked anything like that. So not sure what that sour smell is. They're bringing in something weird. Stinkweed or something. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'll stop talking now. You're welcome. And we'll catch you on the next one. Take care.